Hi, back again. Another week, another story, right? Well, you may remember that 2 weeks ago we read the story Evelyn Del Rey is Moving Away, which is about two best friends, two little girls. Well, today's story is also about friendship. And it starts out with somebody called No-Nonsense Captain Schwasby, who has lived all his life on the sea, by the sea. He thinks the sea is his best friend. He loves his quiet life, just as it is, sandy and serene. But when new neighbors settle in next door to him, they disrupt his solitude. Could it be that the sea knows exactly what he needs? Let's read and find out. Schwasby and the Sea, written by Beth Ferry, illustrated by Juana Martinez Neal. Captain Schwasby loved the sea. The sea and he had been friends for a long time. She knew him in and out, up and down, and better than anyone. So, when Schwasby retired, it was to a small house on a small beach, as close to the sea as he could be. Whenever he needed something, the sea provided exactly the right thing at exactly the right time. Life was just the way Schwasby liked it. Salty and sandy and serene. Until squeaks and squeals sprang from the empty house next door, which was no longer empty. It had been commandeered by a girl and her granny, who planted umbrellas, scattered beach chairs, and boarded Schwasby's deck without permission. Schwasby battened down the hatches, hid when the doorbell rang, and fed their oatmeal cookies to the gulls. He didn't need neighbors. He didn't want neighbors. Neighbors were nosy. Neighbors were a nuisance. Neighbors were annoying. So in return, he left a message written clearly in the sand. No trespassing. Which the sea fiddled with just a bit. Sing, the girl read, and did just that. She sang every song she knew while dancing up and down Schwasby's deck. "What now?" she asked. "Now vanish," Schwasby wrote later that evening, adding a starfish exclamation point. And the sea fiddled just a bit. "Wish," the girl read, picking up the starfish, and did just that. She closed her eyes and began, "I wish—" "No, no," Schwasby interrupted, stomping down the steps. "If ye mean to make a starfish wish, ye must say this: Starfish back to waves so blue, the sea will see a wish come true." "How lovely," Granny said. "We wish you'd come for a cup of tea, Mr. Schwasby." But Schwasby wished to be left alone. So he grumbled and mumbled and hurried inside. He didn't need tea. He didn't want tea. Tea was civilized, friendly, neighborly. What he needed was a new message. Please go away, he wrote firmly in the sand. And once again, the sea fiddled just a bit. Play, the girl sounded out, and did just that, with Schwazbe's shells and stones, with his buckets and shovels. But her towers kept falling. "Barnacles bottoms," Schwazbe muttered, marching out. "You're doing it all wrong. You must not use the sun-baked sand. It's the sea sand does the trick." And he showed her how to dig for the wet sand below. But Schwazbe was gone. Before long, amazing sculptures decorated the beach. "It's the clamshells ye should be using," Schwazbe called from inside. "Come play, Mr. Schwazbe," the girl called back. "Schwazbes don't play," he answered, banging the shutters. But the sea decided to meddle, more than just a little. She inched her way up the sand and tickled the girl's toes. She nibbled on the sculptures and slurped away the bucket. The girl tried to grab it, but "Look at me!" the girl called. "Look at her!" Granny gasped. "Oh dear, look at her!" Granny hurried to the water's edge, but Schwazbe was already there. "What are ye up to, you great salty imp?" he asked, scooping up the girl and the bucket. With a great big wave, the sea delivered the pair back to shore. And there was no stopping the laughing and thanking and hugging that was Schwazbe's reward. "I see what you did," he whispered to the sea as he was whisked away to celebrate. After that, it was easy for Schwazbe to have tea with the girl and her granny, and ice cream and lobsters and s'mores on the beach. It was easy for him to share his special sea glass. It was even easy for him to see the neighbors could be fun, and friends and family. And when he had a moment to himself, Schwazbe carved a heartfelt message for the sea. "Thank ye, friend," which the sea fiddled with just a little bit. The end. So, Captain Schwazbe was a grumpy old man, wasn't he? And of course, you know, this is a pretend story, right? The sea does not send messages, right? This is just a pretend book. But it was fun, wasn't it? And I was reading it, I was kind of reminded of something that happened to me a number of years ago. I had just moved into a new office, and I'd gone down to the coffee room, and it was really crowded. There were a lot of people getting coffee, making copies, you know, that kind of thing. And a girl walked right up to me and started talking to me and asking questions about what book I was reading, because I was holding a book. And I was like, "Okay, hi." And you won't be surprised that she turned out to be one of my best friends ever. So sometimes we are surprised by friends, right? Plus, I was also thinking, you know what? Captain Schwasby's messages in the sand were kind of like prayers, right? And he didn't get the answer that he wanted, right? He wanted that granny and her little girl to go away, leave him alone. And it turned out the exact opposite. They turned out to be good friends, right? Somebody he didn't even know he needed. You know, that's kind of true with us, isn't it? It's kind of like we make prayers. We say prayers. We ask God for things. Oh, we want certain things. And oh, we just can't imagine if we don't get that exact answer. And sometimes we do. But sometimes we don't get the answer we want to prayer. And we can't figure out why. We think, well, that's what I wanted. Why didn't I get that? Well, sometimes the answer to prayer is something we didn't expect, and it turns out, just like Captain Schwasby, to be better than we could ever have imagined, right? And sometimes not. That's one of the mysteries of life, right? But one thing we can always count on is that Jesus loves us. He's always with us. He listens to our prayers. And just like Captain Schwasby, often we're going to find out that some of the answers to our prayers, God sends other people to make them come true. I hope you have a good week. And next week, we're going to read another story. I haven't decided yet. It could be about a boy who makes a forest. Or it might be a different one. I haven't decided yet. Tune in next week and let's find out. Bye.